Yo, Zaire, check this out. I got them both too, son. I got them both too. And you know what? Xbox One is shit, son. Okay, so all three consoles are out now, and I own all three of them. So I feel that I can definitively talk about the next generation. And what I want to say right now is that Xbox One is a really disappointing piece of shit. Even for a Microsoft product, it's disappointing. And that's saying a fucking lot. It doesn't function the way that they advertised it. And don't tell me this because they gimped some of the functionality by removing the DRM. Let me tell you something right now. There's a lot more DRM in that system than they want you to know about. Trust me. So, what can we talk about first? Okay, let's start with the controller. Here's an Xbox One controller. Here's an Xbox 360 controller. This is the better controller. This is the inferior controller. This one, the only advantage this has over this is this one has a better directional button. Other than that, this one is better in every conceivable way. The triggers feel better. The bumpers. The bumpers on this one, they're shaped funny and they don't feel right. And especially when you're holding the controller like this, they've increased the distance between these and the triggers. So you're either having to hold the triggers at the very top, or if you play like me where you keep all of them held down, you have to stretch your fingers farther than you did on the old one. It feels weird. Secondly, here we are at the beginning of the 8th generation. It's 2013. Why the fuck do you still have a battery slot? The worst thing about this controller are the sticks. I do not know why, but they feel higher up than they used to be compared to the 360 controller. And they're loud too. They make a really loud knocking noise when you're moving them around, and it's because if you look at it real close, there's, instead of a rounded edge, there's a hard edge right there that goes all the way around, and you listen. This is what you're hearing the whole time you're playing a game. And worst of all, the dead zone on these sticks seems to be worse than it was with the 360. The 360 didn't have that much of a dead zone to it. It was fairly responsive. But these, when you're playing, you can feel the delay of the dead zone. You can feel it. It's not something that's subtle. It's there. You can ask other people that have bought it. Solid Rev noticed it too. There's a dead zone to these controllers. Bottom line, this controller sucks. It's not an evolution over the previous one at all. How they could have spent as much money as they did on the design of this is beyond me, because this is some phoned in bullshit right here. Alright, so what launch games have I gotten so far? Well, I got Rise, and I got Dead Rising 3, and I got Forza Motorsport 5. Okay? I got the 3 best of the best of the best. So what do I think of them? Well, Rise is a piece of shit. It looks great. It's not going to impress anybody who's been playing on PC for the last 2 years, but it looks great. The control is another matter entirely. This is not fast, frenetic combat action like you get with a God of War or a Devil May Cry. This is very slow, deliberate, with an obvious delay between when you punch the button and when it actually reacts that you have to get used to. It's a timed thing. The best way I could describe it is if you took Batman Arkham Asylum. Took out all the exploration elements. Took out all the puzzles. Made it nothing but linear combat from beginning to end. And then restricted Batman down to two actual combat maneuvers, a super move, and more powerful versions of those two moves. So you basically have 5 moves to use through the whole game. That's what Rise is like. You run in, you parry, you stab, you do your finishing maneuver, you're done. If you get surrounded by guys, you have a power meter, you hit that, everything turns yellow, and you're fast while everyone else is slow, and you make with the stabby stab, and then you're done. That's all it is. There's no additional weapons, there's no combat, there's no puzzles to solve. It's you know, I've seen a lot of people comparing it to God of War. It's nothing like God of War. It doesn't play anything like God of War. You know what it plays more like? It plays more like Knack. Yeah. Because it's the same basic concept. You got a couple of combat moves, you've got a super move, and you've got slow motion deaths and a dodge button. And you're just going from section to section, clearing out all the bad guys so you can move to the next session. It's exactly like playing Knack. It's the grown-up version of Knack. That's what Rise is. It's Knack with a gladiator sheen painted over it. That's it. That's really all it is. You know, the music's great. If you're a fan of Gladiator or Troy or any of those movies, you're going to feel right at home with this game. Just don't expect a whole lot out of it, because you're just doing the same repetitive thing over and over. And unlike Knack, it only has a 5-hour campaign. Knack's campaign's about 10 hours, 8 to 10. But Rise is only 5. Now there is a multiplayer element to it where you're doing a co-op thing in a big arena or what have you, but it doesn't really make up for it because it's just more of the same old combat shit. Another thing you'll notice when playing Rise is a lot of repetition of the enemies. Now with a kiddie game like Knack, you would expect that. Or on a last-gen action game, you would expect to see a lot of the enemies repeat. But in this one, where it's supposed to be this gritty, realistic, next-gen, you know, Roman combat game, you would expect to see something more. But invariably, when you go into a fight, you'll see like the same 2 or 3 guys, and then you'll see at least one of these big fat guys with a beard that holds a shield. And they're the ones where you have to shield bash them to make them to get them exposed before you can make with the stabby stab. And there will be sometimes 2 and 3 of them on the screen at a time. And you have to wonder, you know, the woman that birthed all these identical barbarian grunts with the shields, you know, she must have a uterus the size of Nebraska. It must trail half a mile behind her when she goes to the store. Because goddamn, she must have had, you know, Google tuplets. Because you keep seeing this same fat fuck in every fight you go to. And I'm not talking about every level, I mean every fight. You go from one fight, you clear it out, and you can walk to the next area, you get stopped again, there's 3 more of the same dude. It's laughable. It really is. You know, in older games, I can understand it because of the limitations of the system. And in a game like Knack that harkens back to those games where you're playing the same 7 or 8 bad guys but they're being colored differently, I can understand that. But this game seems to have maybe 4 or 5 models tops, and it's on the Xbox One? Come on. Dead Rising 3 is a fun game if you liked Dead Rising 1 or 2. I like the fact that they have revamped the crafting to where you don't have to go look for a table, that you can just do crafting on the fly. I like that. That's a good change. But what they didn't change was the graphics. The game's got much farther draw distance than the previous games, and it has a lot more zombies on screen than the previous games. The Xbox 360 would not be able to handle the amount of zombies on screen that this game does. It just wouldn't. But it could handle the graphics with less zombies. This game does not look any better visually than The Last of Us on PS3. In fact, in a lot of ways, it's worse than The Last of Us. There are characters in this game, this next-gen game, this barely running at 720p, drops to 16 frames per second at the drop of a hat game. There are characters in this game that still have square-ended fingers. Square ends on the fingers. And their mouths don't stay in time with what they're saying. When they're talking, the rest of their face doesn't move. There's no facial movement. It's not like playing Rise or playing Killzone or the Shadowfall, where the muscles in their face move and it actually looks more realistic. No, they have dead expressions and their mouths move up and down. That's all there is. That's all there is. The special effects in it is not anything that you haven't seen in the previous gen. And I read an article, it was an interview from the makers of that game. And they said that the design for that game originally started with Xbox 360. Now they claim that they didn't actually start building the game until Xbox One. But everything about it screams Xbox 360 with the exception of the number of zombies on screen. And of course, the microtransactions. Microtransactions, that brings me to Forza. Forza 5. You know what I think of Forza 5? That's what I think of Forza 5. I'm not impressed with it at all. The graphics, they look good. 1080p, 60 frames per second. But everything around it looks like shit. The sun, you know, the sunlight is canned. It's not reactive lighting. The backgrounds, you have static, repeated people standing in the stands that don't move. You know, you can when you play the game, you can tell where they cut corners, and it's still the easy, casual, dumbed down Gran Turismo. It still wants to hold your hand through the game, and you can turn a lot of that off if you want to play it more hardcore, but the game wasn't made for the hardcore. It was made for the people that don't know how to play racing games and want to feel like they're doing good in a Gran Turismo style game. It's the same shit. Plus, you only got 200 cars, you only got a handful of tracks. The rest of it you're supposed to earn or buy. And that's where we get into the whole microtransaction thing. Now, I agree that it's ridiculous to pay $100 for a downloadable car, but at the same time, it's my understanding that car can be unlocked without paying any money just by playing the game. You know, the game you bought. So you Xbots out there, I don't really know if you should be complaining so much about the cost of the DLC for these systems. Because all of the DLC that people have been complaining about, the stuff that you buy in Rise, the stuff that you buy in Dead Rising, the stuff that you buy in Forza 5, all of it is stuff that you can earn for free just by playing and being good at the game. When you complain about the amount of money that you would have to spend to buy these nickel and dime little microtransactions, what you're saying is, I suck at games and I hate the fact that I have to buy this kind of stuff to be able to win. That's really what you're saying. Because you can get all that same shit by just sitting down and playing the fucking game you bought. I'm looking at Rise. I haven't completely finished Rise yet. I got like one level left, I think. I've unlocked almost everything just from killing motherfuckers. I haven't invested any additional money in that game. Fuck that. I don't buy little add-ons and shit like that. I'll buy a DLC, but I'm not gonna buy experience. I'm not gonna buy moves. If I can get them for free, fuck it. I'm gonna unlock the shit myself. And the fact that you guys are bitching about the fact that you don't want to do that just shows you what casual fucking lames you are. You can't even unlock the shit in your own goddamn games. God damn it, the Xbox just turned itself on again. You know what I hope, Xbox? I hope that every single microtransaction on every single Xbox One game gets jacked up in price to $100 so I can sit back and listen and laugh at you goddamn fucking gaming casual pussies complaining about the fact that you can't cheat on your own fucking games. Fuck the lot of you casual assholes. Fucking whining bitches make me sick. Here's the worst thing about the Xbox One, and I'm not just talking about hardware failures or any of that stuff. Mine works just fine. Aside from the fact that while I've been making this video, it's turned itself on 4 times because it thought I said Xbox on. It can't tell Xbox on from Xbox One. What a fucking fail. But anyway, the biggest complaint that I have out of the Xbox One is they didn't really remove the DRM that they said they would. They patched around it for people that aren't connected to the internet. If you are connected to the internet, the fucking shit's still there. And all you have to do to prove it is buy a new game and stick it in the drive. Because when you put that disc in the drive and you're connected to the internet, I watched this and this is what I think is happening. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. You put the disc in the drive, it scans it to verify that it's an authentic copy of the disc, and then the drive stops spinning. And you see it installing the game. Guess what? It's not installing it off the disc. It's downloading it off of Xbox Live. The disc is just in there to prove that you own the fucking shit. So you sit there for 20, 30, 40 minutes, an hour, and then it tells you your game is ready to play. So after an hour, Rise tells me that it's ready to play. I click my button to go into Rise, and while it's still installing, it says it's like 40% done. I go inside the game, thinking, "Oh, cool! This is gonna work like PS4, where I can at least play the game while it's installing." I go into Rise. What do I see? A Rise loading screen with a bar, and I have to sit for another 30 fucking minutes before I can play the goddamn game. And it's been like that with every disc I've stuck in that fucking system. The only way to get around it is to yank the Cat 5 cable out of the back, unplug it from the internet, reboot it, and then stick the game in. Installs in a couple of minutes. Off the disc. But if you're connected to the internet, download, 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 and you will sit there for fucking ever. Tell me, Xbox, how that's a fucking win. Tell me, Zaire, how that's a fucking win. Why do you like to sit for an hour to download your fucking games? Tell me that. I would like to know. Rationalize to me why I should be appreciative of the fact that I can sit and watch my TV while my Xbox is downloading a game that it shouldn't be downloading in the first fucking place because it's already on the goddamn disc. Tell me why that is a win. And speaking of the TV shit, I hooked that up for about 5 minutes. I saw what a fail it was and I unhooked it. I'm not using it. Why? I'll tell you why. First of all, one of your big perks is that you can set up a favorites list of the TV channels that you watch, so it only displays the channels you actually use. I have AT&T UVerse. My box already does that. I already have a favorites list. Secondly, if you want to watch the DVR on your cable box, you still have to pick up your remote and navigate to the DVR menu to pull up your recorded shows. The Xbox One will not do that for you. Thirdly, you have the Snap feature, where you're able to get, watch a TV show while looking at a little Internet Explorer window, or playing a game while you've got a football game up in the corner. Let me show you how I handle that in my world. Now, I have laptops all over this house, but for when I'm gaming, I keep a little netbook sitting next to me. If I need to look something up about a game, I go beep, 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 and it's done. Meanwhile, my game is still full screen on the screen. So as far as having Internet Explorer, that's no win for me. Now, as far as being able to watch a football game and playing a game at the same time, there's this bit of technology that's been in TVs for over 20 years now. It's called picture-in-picture, where it displays one of your inputs full screen and one of your other inputs smaller screen. The difference being that with Xbox One, no matter which one you pick as the main one, it's still on a smaller screen than it would be if you were playing just the game. It still shrinks it down, and then the other one is this tiny little itty bitty one. I have picture-in-picture on my TV. I can play Xbox One and have a TV show down in the corner and still have the game full screen. I don't need any of that shit, so I don't use it. It's meaningless to me. Absolutely meaningless. There is no use for it in my life whatsoever. Now, for some of you Xbots out there who are still using that welfare cable, where you've got that old ancient box that barely does anything, then yes, this might be beneficial to you. But for me, my box already does everything that the Xbox One does and more. Mine does more than what the Xbox One does. So there's no reason for me to hook it up, ever. As for the Kinect, as you've already seen in the video, I've accidentally turned the dumb thing on 4 or 5 times because it keeps misunderstanding what I'm saying while I'm filming this video. I have not been able to determine a definitive leap in technology over the previous Kinect, with the exception of one thing: Xbox Fitness. You've got a whole ton of downloadable and streaming exercise routines, and it actually tracks you while you're doing it. So it can tell you what your heart rate is, it can tell you how many calories you burned, it can show you which muscle groups in live while you're looking at it, you're exercising. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. And it's not just mamby-pamby housewife at home wanting to do some yoga shit either. There's P90X on there. There's some Taibo style martial arts exercise stuff on there. There's some working with weights, weightlifting stuff on there. It's got a wide range. For, you know, it'll cater to just about anybody if you want to exercise at home. I prefer to go to a gym, but I can see the benefit of it. Some of them, there's a lot of them that are free. Some of them are $30 or more, depending on what it is. But that's the one thing that I've seen where the Kinect actually comes in handy. I hate the menu system. I fucking hate it. The gestures don't work half the time, so you still end up just using the controller to navigate your way around. And you know what it is? It's fucking Windows 8. Everybody knows it is, and I fucking hate Windows 8. I will not, if I'm on a computer that has Windows 8 on it, I will not use that interface to save my life. I will go back to the old desktop format. Sure, the PS4 UI doesn't do as much, and the voice commands don't work as well, not that I use them anyway, but it's a lot easier to get around. It's just zip, 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 you're done. Zip, 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 you're done. Come out of a game, click on this, go back into the game, done. Install a game, takes 3 minutes, then you can start playing, no additional load bars, done. It's a faster, more efficient interface every way around. There's no arguing around it. It takes less time to press a button than it does to say, Xbox, go to Resogun, if they had Resogun. It takes less time. Tell me how it improves your gaming experience to have to say everything that you want to do instead of just doing it. Time it. Time it. You ready? You ready? Xbox, play Resogun versus which one was faster? This one was. It's a gimmick. It's supposed to make you feel like you're living in fucking Star Trek. It doesn't improve shit. It didn't improve shit with the Kinect on the 360. It's not improving shit now. It's a gimmick. Just like the gamepad is a gimmick. Just like the Wiimote was a gimmick. So when you scrape all that other shit off of the Xbox One, what are you left with? A ginormous box that's not as powerful as the PS4 and still has DRM shit built into it where your fucking games take forever to load unless you disconnect it from the internet. It sucks. And it especially sucks when you're having to pay $100 more to get it. If I were you and you are undecided and you're only going to buy one system, get the PS4. It doesn't have as many exclusives now. And the stuff coming down the pipe is going to bury the Xbox One. The Xbox One is looking forward to Halo 5. That's all they got left now. They don't have Gears of War. They got Fable. And they got Forza. So you got, what, 3 franchises that you're going to be buried under over the next 5 to 7 years, however long they choose to go. Because Titanfall is only going to be exclusive for the first game. Any sequels after that coming to the PS4 too. Gears of War, there's rumors of it coming to the PS4 now. And then with the PS4, you got Killzone. You got Knack, which may get a sequel considering how much better it sold than Mario 3D World last week. You may get, you're going to have the Infamous series. You're going to have the God of War series. You may see a sequel to The Last of Us. The Order is probably going to become a franchise. And on and on and on. The Uncharted series, come on. The Gran Turismo series. And these are just, with the exception of The Order, established franchises. We're not even talking about new IP that's going to show up. Think about how many of the franchises Sony have now started out as new IP last gen. Think about it. Some of the best games released the previous gen were completely new IPs on the PS3. I just don't see the potential. What I see is Microsoft veering away from gaming, and they're putting all their money in the cable box because they are now working to do a subsidy deal with cable companies. In other words, buy our cable service, get an Xbox One. Like with a cell phone, where you sign up for a cell phone contract and you get the cell phone for free. They want to do that with the Xbox One. Buy our cable service and you'll get an Xbox One to plug into our cable box. That's how they plan to win the generation. Through cable TV. A dying technology. Cable TV is on its way out. Fewer and fewer people are watching cable TV. They're watching Netflix, they're watching Hulu. They're not watching their cable TV as much anymore. I still use mine because of the DVR. Because I don't want to pay, $8 for Netflix and however much for Hulu when Hulu's not going to have all the channels and the shows that I want, just a lot of them. I want all of it, and so I just go with Netflix and my cable box. But eventually, everything that's out there is going to be available streaming. Cable TV gone bye-bye, and you think, well, Microsoft has put all this money into a dying tech, and it's true. But what they're planning is they're going to work their way into that cable business, and then they're going to supplant it. They're going to replace it. They want to do with cable TV what they did to the Dreamcast. Get in good with Sega, learn everything they can from it, bring out their own system, and bury the people that helped them. That's what they're going to do with cable. They're going to get in there, learn all the ins and outs of running that kind of a service, and then you're going to have a new version of Xbox Live that will probably be of an even higher cost, that's going to include digitally streamed channels for you. They've already tested this shit out. They partnered with Uverse with the 360. That service ends on December 31st. What do you think they're going to replace it with down the pipe? Eventually, you're not going to have to hook up your Xbox One to a cable box at all. Or maybe they won't be able to pull it off until the generation after this one. But that's what they're going for. They want to take over all digital distributed media. Music, games, television, movies. They want it all. And they want you to be buying it all out of their box. They don't give a fuck about gamers. That's just the little red herring that they dangle in front of you to get you to buy their multimedia box. Sony is into multimedia too, but they're going a different route with it. And they put it on the back burner compared to the gaming. So, leave the Xbox One on the shelf, at least for now. If they eventually get some good games, wait till it's $249 and then buy it. Don't spend $500 on it. I did that so that you would not have to do that. So I could tell you the straight dope about what this system can and cannot do. And right now, it's a DRM crippled, patched work piece of shit that had a rush patch in there so that you could play the discs without the internet plugged in. It's a cable box that plays a few games. And they don't even look as good as what's on the PS4 for $100 less. And you can try to argue that with me all you want. The facts are facts. There's no getting around it. The Xbox One is a fucking fail. Maybe it'll be better in the future, but history says that it won't. They have lost to Sony 2 generations in a row now. They came close with last gen, but eventually Sony won out. It ain't gonna change this generation either, because they have different goals in mind than what you have for that system. You want to play games, they're after something else. And that focus on that something else is what's going to keep them from supplanting Sony. Nintendo doesn't even come into the equation at this point. You know, as far as Nintendo goes, they might as well just, batten down the hatches, focus most of their work on the 3DS, and hope for next gen. Because this system, the Wii U, it's another GameCube. That's what it is. It's the best system out there for playing Nintendo exclusives. And that's all you can say about it. That's it. So, there's your verdict. PS4, buy. Wii U, a good backup system to have if you want to play Mario and Zelda. Bottom line. This is 7th.